Hello again everyone, welcome back. On today's video we'll be talking about a build that I've recently been playing in Path of Exile. This build is Arakaali's Fang Necromancer. Arakaali's Fang allows you to summon spiders as minions. We take that and raise their poison damage very high to the point of reaching poison cap in less than 10 divines. In the background you'll be seeing the build doing uber bosses and tier 17s, and it clears and bosses very comfortably, and you can do that in a very small budget. For defenses, you are looking at high resistances, natural cap of block for both spell and attack block, and leech coming from the hits of your minions. For offensive, you use a Merc with Envy Aura. You run auras for your minions as well in Malevolence and Haste, and we run two different offerings, one to buff their damage and one to buff your defenses. The build at this point has killed almost every single Uber. I have farmed tier 17s with ease with it, and I really want to share it with you because not many people are playing this build, and I truly believe this version of Raised Spiders is probably the best the build has ever been. So without any further ado, let's get into the build. Alright, so let's start by having a look at our character. Currently level 95, we have 3.5k life, 1.5k yes, and we have 79, 80, 79, 76 resistances, and while we have our offerings up, we have double capped block with pure block, not glancing blows. And for an extra little layer of defense, we also have about 20k armor, 19k armor, 25, 26 with our flask up. Apart from that, we also have, but I can't really show you, we have a little bit of leech due to bone barrier. So, starting with our passive tree, as you can see, it's a very standard minion passive tree. You go up here to grab minion stuff, you get all the sockets that you can get along the way, you get a little bit of mana, a little bit of life, resistances, and that's it. A little bit different is we take Elegant Hubris, specifically with Commemorate Caspero, so we can have Supreme Ostentation. This allows us to not care about stats, which in turn means every single one of our traveling points can be used as a tattoo receiver. I have a few here to help me cap my resistances, and I have one armor here, and I have fire resist here. I was testing this out because the Red Nightmare I thought would give you maximum resistance, but no, it just gives you more resistance, which I don't need because I'm already capped with my offering. So you kind of want to have an Elegant Hubris with Caspero here to get this. This one also happens to have 2 decent points here, but you don't need that. Simply with Caspero will be more than enough. Then we also have 2 large clustered jewels. These clustered jewels, all you're looking for is increased effect and attack and cast speed. You want them to have 12 passives to maximize how many points you're going to get. But other than that, that's all you really care about is effect and attack and cast speed. If you can get something good like a resist or armor or chaos res, all of those would be pretty good. Other important things on the passive tree, you are also looking at getting, in my setup at least, I have a Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh setup with Mistress of Sacrifice. This costs you about 2 divines to socket this in, so you can then get a natural strength. Apart from that, you want a Amanamu's Gaze. This is going to give you a lot of damage over time multiplier for your spiders, which is going to be increased by how many Ghastly Eye Jewels you have, up to 5. Currently I have the cap, I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and itself 5. So that works very well. On the Ghastly Eye Jewels, all you really care about is chaos damage, flat chaos damage, and if you can, Physical is also good because we're converting 100% of their fist to chaos. And also quite nice is minions deal increased damage if you use the minion skill recently, due to the fact that offerings have the minion tag. You are using them very often. Convocation also has the minion tag, so you can maintain that basically 100% of the time. And that's really it for the passive tree. You just take block, life, defenses, and then cluster jewels. And a little bit of conservation, and that's it. Oh, another important thing, given that we don't care about our stats, you can take Rune Graft of the Fortress, which is going to give you a big increase on your defenses. And that's it for the passive tree. On your ascendancy, my recommendation for this in order would be Commander of Darkness, probably Mindless Aggression, Mistress of Sacrifice, and Bone Barrier. Once you have a Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh setup, for any of these, well, any of these being Bone Barrier, Commander of Darkness, or Mistress of Sacrifice, you can then socket in a Natural Strength, which is going to give 100% conversion of Fist to Chaos, as well as 25% chance to apply Wither on hit. This is very good, because otherwise on a 6th link you're going to be running Withering Touch, which is a decent damage link, but you can do better than that for single target, so this allows you to get a lot more damage from your 6th link. And as I said, Mistress of Sacrifice is very cheap. I bought it for 2 divines for the pair, so look towards that, because they should still be quite cheap. Talking about our gear here then, starting with our weapon. Pretty obvious, Arakaali's Fang, you don't care about the weapon whatsoever. All you care about is the trigger level 1 raise spiders on kill. This is going to be what makes the build work, obviously. On the helmet, you are going to run a new piece that just got released this season and just made this build twice as good. This just skyrocketed the power of this build, gives you level of minion skill jumps, doesn't matter, gives you chaos res, which is quite good, and makes so the maximum number of raise spiders is doubled. So going from 20 to 40, which is fantastic. Gives you so much value. This really makes the build go to the next level. Then we have a Squire. It has been steadily going up in price. Last time I checked it was about 3 divines. I bought mine for 1.5. And I actually got lucky and dropped a second one. For the first time I actually got a tier 0 drop. So that was very funny. You are looking to add this. All supports that are here are going to support whatever you have on your main hand, and all sockets that's on your main hand support your spiders. So essentially turning your raised spiders into a 6th link. On the amulet, I have Determination with an anoint to... Sorry, I have All Surprising with the Determination mod that makes so it has no reservation. You can get one with Determination, or in my case I'm also using Haste, you can look for that. Haste, Determination, or Malevolence, whichever you prefer, whichever is cheaper. I would recommend it a Malevolence or Determination, because they determine what defense is on the amulet, being ES or armor. And I assume Haste is going to give you evasion, which is completely lost on our setup. And yeah, this allows us to fit a little bit more mana to work with, which is very nice because our, as you can see, our offerings do take quite a bit of mana. On your ring, I have a bone ring and a chaos ring, a chaos resist ring. The bone ring you can easily craft with the attack and cast speed of minions by simply going to your bench here and going to caster, Reforged caster, and there's only 2 mods that you can need. Either this, meaning increase attack and cast speed, or cast speed. So you spam this until you get minion attack and cast speed, minion damage, and something else that is useful. It should be very easy to craft. Murdering is just life, resistances, and DS, and that's it. The gloves are equally just life and life and resistances, and a little bit of defense, but these are actually quite terrible. Then on the chest piece, you're just looking for very high armor and energy shield, and then life and resistances as much as you can get. On your belt, Leash of Oblation allows you to have each one of the offerings on you, with the negative of reducing the duration to half, but it's still very, very valuable. You absolutely want this, and technically you could have 3 offerings. The third offering, Spirit Offering, gives your minions and yourself crit damage and crit chance. You don't care about that because you're doing poison anyway, so we only run 2 offerings here, Bone and Flesh. Flesh for speed and attack speed, and Bone for block. On the boots, we are running the Stampede. If you've seen my last build, you know I absolutely adore these boots. Playing Cyclone with and without them is completely different. Like, it's not even the same. This becomes so much more enjoyable. And we have it anointed as well with Hollow Effigy, which allows us to use our offering skills to not require a corpse, which is a utility more than anything else. Give me a second. Which is utility more than anything else. Realistically, you're probably looking at anointing either Prismatic Skin or Soul of Steel for defenses, more defenses. Because one, we're damage capped or poison capped, so there's no reason in getting any more damage, and you can always use more defense, right? If you also want to get more life, you can simply anoint Heart of the Warrior instead. And that's it for our gear, very straightforward. Oh, for the flasks, just triple elemental resistance to increase our cap, granite, preferably crafted with armor, I should go and do that, and then we run a writhing jar. This is gonna summon the worms, so if there's corpses around, when you pop this, summons 2 worms. When you kill them, it raises spiders, 2 from each corpse nearby. And yeah, that's it. That's it for our gear. So let's talk about the sockets then. On our spiders, our 6-link, you're going to be running... I have Awakened Void Manip. If you don't have Mindless Aggression, a Natural Strength, I think. Yeah, Natural Strength. If you don't have a Natural Strength yet, instead of running Void Manipulation, you're going to be running Wither Touch to get Wither, which is very, very important. Once you have that, then you can swap to Void Manipulation. Other than that, we have Minion Damage, Unbound Elements, Multi-Strike, Melee Fist Damage, and Melee Splash for clear. On single targets, you swap Rootless for Melee Splash, and that's your single target setup. On our helmet, we run Frostblink for movement. You can run Flame Dash or whatever you prefer. Tempest Shield. And then we have an automation Steel Skin setup. We run Steel Skin because getting bleed removal on any of our flasks halves their duration because of their utility. So instead of doing that and getting a half duration flask, we instead run Steel Skin to give you immunity to bleed. And also gives you a decent damage taken from it before your life. Is a nice defensive as well. On our gloves, we have an Enlighten support 4. You don't need this, as you can see, but it does give you more mana to work with. You can just run a level 2 or even a level 3 if you rather. I just happen to have an Enlighten 4. And then we have Haste, Malevolence, and Determination. If your resistances can be a little bit tight, because we only run 1, 2, 3, 4 rare items. So if you don't have your resistances there yet, simply swap Haste for Purity of Elements, which was what I did for quite a long time until I was able to fix my resistances. We then have our boots, which have Convocation, Desecrate, and Castwell Channeling, linked to Divine Ire. Now, Divine Ire is going to make so you can spawn corpses at the beginning of the map, and if you have something like this is usually on your Merc, but let's just say for argument's sake, it's on me right now. Your Merc spawns one of these while you're channeling. There you go, you summon all the spiders. Your body armor. Really, you only need a 4 link here, but as you get a 5 link and a 6 link, you can add extra things. So your core 4 link is going to be Cyclone, Castwell Channeling, Flesh Offering, Bone Offering. These are the ones you need. Once you get a 5 link, I would recommend adding Moderation. It makes it significantly easier to increase the uptime on your offerings. Currently they last about 9 seconds. Without this they last about 6.5 seconds. So it gives you a little bit more time between having to summon them. And your last link can be really whatever you like. I have Culling Strike here because it just gives you an extra, kill things that are below 10%, which is very nice. And that's pretty much everything for our character itself. So let's go ahead and look at our Merc, which is going to be
have consequences,
a cruel mistress. Now here, on her, is very, very important that you get Envy. Envy is about 50% damage of this build, or something stupid like that. This gives you so much damage, it's unbelievable. You need this aura, and there's only 2 ways to get it. One, you get it from her, or you get it from an All Surprising with Envy, is one of the roles that it can get. I would highly recommend getting a Cruel Mistress instead, because this frees your amulet and gives you a lot more space to work with. And her aura is going to be much higher than yours. A max level Merc like this will have a baseline, a level 25 or 26 aura that you can further scale. So let's talk about that. She has Envy. You also would rather have her with a curse. It could be Despair or Temporal Chains, doesn't really matter, whichever you can get. And if they have something like this, even better to increase the effect of the curse. Whichever curse you don't have, you then want a pair of gloves with that curse on hit. The pair doesn't matter, the Embalmer here has no value, it's just for the curse. Then you have Dying Breath. Mine came with Staff. I don't believe they can roll with a Wand and Shield. I haven't seen it, at least. But if they can, then you can have Victorious to give your minions charges. And Rare Wand, maybe? Not entirely sure what I would put there. But if it has a staff, then you can give her Dying Breath, increase the effect of non-curse auras, and makes her auras have a higher range, which is quite good. Then we have Garb of the Ephemeral, gives us both action speed cannot be reduced below base value, and the enemies cannot deal crits when nearby our Merc. We have this helmet, which doesn't really matter. It curses them, but not any other curse has any value outside of the ones that we're running. So, it's okay. I just didn't know what give her on a helmet. You could potentially just give her a rare helmet, and that's it. That's probably the better thing to do, to be honest. Anathemas increase the amount of curses she can inflict. You can also, if you don't have an Anathemas, I don't believe they're expensive this league, but if you don't have it, you can just give her a Toedris Damnation ring for an extra curse, and it should work. Calm's Binding as well for the conversion. And lastly, we have a Stampede on her as well. Doesn't really matter for the stats. What we care about is that we can anoint it. And with both this anoint and anoint on her necklace, we are giving her effect of non-curse auras to buff further the envy that she has. So you have this anoint here, and then we have influence on the necklace. And on the necklace I opted for Shaper Seed. This is going to give us a much needed mana regen. As you can see, it's much higher than if she is not nearby. And also a little bit of life regen, so that's good as well. And I believe that's everything. as always, you can check the POE. It's going to have the Merc as well is going to be on the description of the video. And yeah, this has been a fantastic build. Very surprised how easy this went. I spent easily less than 10 divines on the build itself. So if I give you an estimate of how much I spent, 1 divine on the helmet, 1.5, so 2.5 on total on the squire, 3.5 with the all surprising. The rest of the gear did not amount to 1 divine. This is like 30C when I bought it. 2 divines here, so 5 divines and a half for the Forbidden Flame setup. And I bought the bases and I crafted them myself, but these two with 25% effect and 2% attack and cast speed are each 1 divine. So 7.5 divines for this whole setup. And it has hit poison cap at this point. Both of the Awakened gems do not cost a divine. They're like, I believe I have 3 here. I believe each one of them was like 100C. Melee Fizz I think was 90. So all 3 together would be another divine and a half. So 9 divines total for the build so far. And at this point has hit poison cap. It's a crazy easy build to get going, and it's very, very fun to play. I really enjoy it, and I would highly recommend you to try it. I don't believe it's going to get nerfed because nobody's playing this, but this helmet might be changed. I don't know. This has enabled so many interesting builds like golems, like reapers, ray spiders. It's an amazing helmet, and I highly recommend you give it a try. But yeah, that's going to be everything from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all later. Bye bye.